Kia ora, my name's Aidan Harrison, married to Bridie. We've got 4 children, Josie, Holly, Micah and Luelle, and I grew up in Gisborne. Presbyterian and Anglican roots, went to a Pentecostal church that was predominantly Māori, and Te Reo Māori was spoken frequently. I had thought that I was going to come down to Christchurch and study forestry science, which I did, and I would go back to Gisborne and hug trees for the rest of my life. Marry a nice Māori girl. Well, I met a Pākehā girl down here who looked like a Māori, and I decided, oh look, I'm not sure if I want to hug trees for the rest of my life. They don't talk back to you. So as anybody who has spent 4 years of time, resource, money, I went teaching as my second choice. So sorry, all those students out there that I've taught. I had an interest in te ao Māori, the Māori world, from growing up in Gisborne. I kind of put that to the side while I taught science and biology, but where you've been brought up, the experiences you've had, God's placed you there for a reason, the learning that you're going to do. And so from that, I ended up getting a job at Aranui High School in the bilingual unit there. I became the head of Māori at Middleton after I'd had a year of study looking at how to teach te reo and looking at the Treaty of Waitangi and education today. But I was just becoming more passionate about wanting to help schools connect to the people, the faith of the place where they actually are, like the physical land, the site where the school is. And eventually got to the point where I was going to have to step out of full-time permanent employment and go away and study this. And so currently I'm studying theology, Māori and education at Otago University. My previous church, I've been there for 25 years. We had COVID, we had the lockdown. I guess for a lot of people that was an opportunity to sort of reassess like where they're at. I got a free ticket from my pastor at my previous church. My encouragement to you, Aidan, is try somewhere else. And so the first place we tried was West Campus, and we came in hugely welcoming. It just felt like a place where my whānau or my family would fit in, that I would be able to contribute, that I would be able to receive. And that's the place where I call home now. It's my whānau, yeah. Yeah, so Whanaungatanga, it's a pretty amazing word. I'm connected to my past, to my forebears, my ancestors. I'm connected to my family now, my physical family, my children, my wife, cousins, uncles, aunties, grandparents, and I'm also connected to a church family. And that being at Grace. So yeah, Whanaungatanga is quite a powerful thing that we remember the past, we celebrate now, but we also look to the future. So one of the opportunities that I had a couple of years ago, and I'm still doing it now, is to sort of look at the history of Christianity in the South Island of New Zealand. And the first peoples that came here were Māori, and they had extended family or whānau called hapu. Māori would travel around the South Island collecting food as it was available seasonally, and they relied on everyone within that whānau contributing. But those extended groups were 40, 50, 60 people. The settlers that came here in the 1800s were a mum and a dad and some kids. They had nuclear families in the literal sense of the word. The nucleus was mum, dad and the kids, and they were very isolated. They were stuck in one place. They didn't travel around the South Island, and they tried to make a living off the land, which was very hard because a lot of it was forested. And they became very insular. 50, 60 k's away might be the next family. But that insular way of thinking, of not relying on other people, because those people weren't around. It was you and your family. You were it. Your grandparents, your extended family was back overseas. There wasn't that sense of community. You had to rely on yourself, and in doing that, perhaps Western values, that inward looking, is good to a point, but we actually need each other. You know, we're called to be a body. And so, yeah, Western values in the church, from what I've seen, is you can come to church and it's really up to you whether you engage, whether you go to a Bible study, whether you hang around after church, whether you invite people over for lunch or dinner. It's up to you, take it or leave it. Whereas from a number of my interactions with Māori, that would be an expectation, that you would invite people, that you would share food together, that you would do life together. We had a couple that literally they were in our life group for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. They needed to shift house and half the life group turned up to help them. And it was awesome. We were able to help and support. They could have done it by themselves, could have paid someone to do that, but that's, you know, doing community together. One of the biggest things I love about church, there are people that are able to speak into my life, my wife's life, and my children's life. These are people with wisdom. These are people who love God, and God can speak through them into our hearts and our lives. And it's not just me and Bridie, my wife, banging on at our kids about this is the values that we have as a family, but it's shared with the preaching, it's shared with the life group, with the youth group. I can go off and do a study by myself, but I appreciate the insight that other people bring. And again, that Whanaungatanga, the grandparent brings this perspective. Our men's group, the younger guys bring a different perspective. The guys my age have this perspective, but I love having the older guys' perspective as well. Yeah, I just really believe that God uses your past to inform your future, so that you can be someone who adds value to the whānau that you're placed in. Being family, you know, Whanaungatanga. Everyone has something that they can contribute, and people are looking for community, and Grace Vineyard for that has been a place that I've come to.